All right, let's see what sort of racist shit Asmongold has to say now. This is gonna be fucking interesting.
CNN polls prove Americans want every illegal deported?
Sometimes I like blunt questions because they sort of get at the underlying feelings that people have. So this is about as blunt a question as you can get. Deport all immigrants here illegally. I will note the ABC News poll asked about undocumented immigrants.
So a lot of the reason why people as a whole want to deport a lot of the illegals or in general people of color is because a lot of the liberal policies from the Democrat Party that had Obama and Obama's administration had the BLM protests because they always found ways to polarize a lot of the people against each other. It's just another sign that this is the continuation of those systems. Cenk Uygur said a lot about this, where the tactics of liberalism and tokenism would eventually bite them in the ass. This is kind of like where it's at, where Democrats kept funding ICE, saying they need to increase deportations while using social media to keep things quiet. They are doing the same thing, except they can't keep the truth quiet, which is that all their propaganda for decades, continuously jumping on top of each other, trying to support the Republican narrative, has essentially created a safety net for a lot of these Republicans to act out in a fascistic sense, so that a lot of these Democrats can play defense for a lot of the no, we are the people that represent people of color, and we represent helping you and caring for humanity, no war, cutting budgets against war and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the Republican side just goes all out war machine, all out. We support the police, we support what they do, and whenever they go too far, they say we're firing people or replacing them. When the Democrat Party is the one that pretty much greenlit their whole policies and regulations, this is the leftover of that. People talking about deporting illegals, still telling them that they're not wanted here, or seeing that video or the black man screaming at the Latinos saying your kind aren't welcome, go back to where you come from. All that, it comes from the era of the Obama administration. A lot of the Democrat Party pushed that hatred since Obama built a lot of those immigrant camps by the border. They push a lot of hatred towards a lot of Latinos. A lot of people like Hassan Piker always pushed anti-Hispanic, anti-Latino narratives. You have people like AOC trying to make up for decades of just hatred towards the Latinos, just trying to desperately say that Trump's deporting people based on just absolutely anything, which ended up being true. So she called that ahead of time with the concept of the continuation of stopping to question people based on their skin color or their accent. That concept as a whole is then diminished by the fact she's friends with Elon Omar, who just got caught up in the Minneapolis's huge fraud scheme, and she also did an interview with Hassan Piker, which devalues her word by a significant amount, in my opinion, because now every single one of them is associated with the anti-immigrant narrative or the anti-immigrant identity, just like Obama is, which is why Obama isn't the one to blame, but rather the entire Democrat Party associating with the continuation of funding police and ICE. And while they go on live and they tell people that they denounce or disown these people that are doing these actions, they still fund them. Still, the party, Republican Party, still pushing a new idea of a Trump being in charge, which is just going to be the new guy who acts like Trump. The Democrat Party's going to put up a new person who's like a pretend representative of your race, but it's going to be someone who's so cleaned up. They just say what they want, the bosses of the establishment want them to say, and then they'll just blame the police and the immigration services again. So what ends up happening is the people get blamed and the working class get blamed from the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, which is AOC and her party group, which is the Elon Omars, the Kamala Harris's, the Obamas, the Warrens, all those people in one big group, essentially attacking the working class and the people. So you can see this since a lot of them don't have unions, which is why the job support concept with immigrants is still going, which is that they're taking our jobs, and you can't counter that with a union job because none of the Democrats actually fight for union jobs. This is why the entire organization of the Democrat Party has been in shambles, is because they don't deliver on anything they said they would deliver on. This is why the entire concept is a huge bankrupt, go woke, go broke mentality, where even men like me who are Latino can't even speak up because they'll bring up their propagandists and say I'm a ICE agent supporter or a cop supporter or some MAGA supporter, because they're so polarized with their woke scolding that you can't even get a single word out. So the concept of this is just, if you can't speak out and fight back against a bunch of the racism the Democrats push forward with and their hatred towards brown men and black men and dividing them through segregationist policies, and as well as cutting our funding, then you're going to realize that a lot of the talking points of AOC being about the money was mainly to appeal to the people of color, and that any association with whiteness was associated with Kamala Harris, since Kamala Harris would have supported the police anti-crime bills and anything associated with the military, and would have given them a positive light on the Republican sphere, which would have been seen as the more patriotic, or if you're an American, know what you're doing, making money, would be the bourgeoisie or the business owning class. Whereas everyone who barely speaks English or barely has an education is probably thrown over to the left side, Democrat side, which are much more simplistic talking points, but are easier to control on the masses with advertisements or telling people that this person's a racist or they said a racist word and so you should hate them and their entire person. The third worlder is way easier to divide families of. I had people threaten to kill me and attack me, and these people would associate with any party they can to get away with it. The association again is that if you try to fight back against corruption, you get a huge multi-billion-dollar scheme that happens with a bunch of Somalians, which they'll call you racist for, either religiously because of Muslims or skin color wise because they're from Africa and they're black. And if you try to critique ICE, they'll say you're racist towards a lot of people of color that are just here just trying to do their thing. And when they tell you the people being oppressed by ICE, they know you don't care because they're black or brown, so they'll bring up a white person like the lesbian couple who shot dead. They'll bring up another group of people like a white nurse who got shot dead. But if they showed you like a picture of a brown man or some average Latino that looks ugly and isn't like really an attractive Latino, they'll just tell you that this happens and you should have obeyed. This is why the concept of fascism usually leaks out to a lot of the white people as a whole, because the white people as a whole start to realize when their kind are getting attacked, they're the ones who maintain this country. And that's proven by the democracy at hand, where the majority of votes are white, the majority of wars are fought by white people, and the culture that we admire and look up to are created by white people. The people who acknowledge this, of course, like me, we get called communists, we get called nationalists, socialists, or Nazis for some reason. They attach to any name they can to discourage you. I've been called a Muslim, I've been called a Christian, I've been called a Jew, I've been called a Buddhist, I've been called an atheist, I've been called everything under the sun. This is just a game that a lot of these people play because they don't see life. They see a game. I play life because life is more fun to play, because it's something you enjoy. It's a beautiful thing. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. You can get beautiful views out of it and fall in love. This concept here proves to you that the hatred that the Democrat Party pushed that killed Charlie Kirk and pushes forward with a lot of their hatred is a continuation of their constant status quo, which is that white people a long time ago won and then just essentially blame each other. And so they control both sides, where Democrats control the liberal white, and then the Republican white controls what we would call this racist white, or what we now just know as just police or like military, because the term racist or Nazi has been devalued to such a degree that we now have like internet video gamers giving us talking points because we have no credible talking point other than just the news. So for the most part, the discussion of these people on how to actually solve problems on the Democrat left are not there. The SOC Dem does not know how to help you. The SOC Dem will tell you to go on EBT welfare and Section 8 and tell you that the world is fixed. These people do not know how to help people. They do not know how to save people, which is why everyone always runs to the Republican Party. And you can see it when it comes to voting to policy, where it's not even associated. Do you like Republicans deporting them or do you like Democrats reporting them? They're simply asking, deport all immigrants here illegally. Period. A majority of all the people just overwhelmingly believe that people should be deported. There's no discussion about it. There's no question about it. The Democrat side wants people out. The Republican side wants people out. I spoke to House members before. I think AOC specifically told me she wanted to deport me. So again, when you talk to these people, Hassan Piker said he would deport people because he said that if you don't agree with his talking points, he'll deport you. He said he'll deport Asian people because if Asian people don't agree with him, he'll make sure they're deported. He's called people shit skin, right? So he's made fun of people's skin color. You have AOC, who has continuously attacked people of color by pretending to be on their side, siding with anyone who would devalue or quiet your opinion. Makes it very difficult to talk to these people. I've tried talking to them plenty of times. They've only ambushed and attacked and assumed the worst. That's why they talk in bad faith. That's why a lot of the times when they go to protest police, they go, what caused this scenario to happen? They always see someone yelling or attacking a police officer, and then the result is always like a huge protest or riot where nothing gets done. Essentially, they'll just talk about it a little bit and then everything continues as normal. Because my favorite thing that always pops up that every single time people pretend is not real is, these are your enemies. See this right here? This right here is your enemy. 2003 Democrat Fund ICE, 2004 Democrat Fund ICE, 2005 Democrat Fund ICE, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then when Trump gets elected, suddenly ICE needs to be denounced. Get it? They've deported more people under the Democrat administration, under Obama and other people as well. And then they went around and just blamed the Republican Party when it was beneficial for their political interests. That's why in political theater, they're just playing all of you, Democrats and Republicans. If you want to be for the working party, the People's Party, you need to think like me. I know how these people operate. They are playing all of you. Every single one of you are getting played by these people. I swear to you, I will swear to you, they are all playing you. You cannot trust them. The second someone gets elected they don't like, all the wrongdoings under their administration is now yours. It's like imagine getting a job. You're working as a job for years. It's going great. Secretary, whatever, you're filing cabinets, putting things in folders and putting them away. And then suddenly the person you don't like gets promoted to your job position. All right? The Democrats will always start shit talking everything they did bad when they were the ones employed. And so the Democrats would spend their entire life checking all the worst things they have ever done, all the evil things they had done, and they'll project it onto the Republican Party. This is also why the Republican Party says, hey, we can work bipartisan on things, right? This is also why they just throw all the blame onto the people or the working class. This is why denouncing ICE is here and not denouncing the Republican Party. Because they do that in accordance to their leadership, which is why they insult Trump or they insult the House Speaker or they insult someone who's in charge. Because their concept is simple: if you're at the top, you need to be thrown down, which is why they think a lot of the times in a monarchy. This is why, again, they do tribalistic insults. Their group is founded purely off people they either sleep with, hang out with at work, or just agree with each other unconditionally. This is why you can literally see a network of people connected to AOC, with Ilhan Omar being her friend, with the Somalian fraudsters, with Hassan Piker being her friend or significant other a lot of the time. And you can see her bias with his talking points because she just repeats what he says. And these are the talking points that a lot of people are pathetic in because they cannot think for themselves and they just try to sleep their way to the top. Again, you will see this by seeing the hypocrisy right here. They denounce ICE. They fund it again. Break funding record. They break the funding record of ICE because these people, again, as of right now, they're playing the victim card in the Democrat Party, while Minneapolis, Elon Omar's people, Tim Walz's people, as well as AOC being connected to them, are all being exposed for fraud and billions of dollars. These same people also lied to you by saying Republicans are evil and then they blame ICE when ICE has been funded by them, and then the Republican Party's narrative has been pushed by the liberal Democrat Party continuously. This is why a lot of the people have control oppositions. This is why a lot of people like Hassan exist, because these people like Hassan are always making sure you cannot speak out. This is a real enemy. It is the Democrats, not a greasy video gamer who has no accreditation and just gives his opinion that a bunch of people are rich and famous, associating behind the scenes and fucking people over. It's just, again, the people speak every time. You just look at the polls. Everyone wants immigrants deported. This is why a lot of the people that are illegally here are upset, because when people push for illegal immigration, the people who are already here legally get scared and terrified, because then you're now looking at people you don't need to look at. You're looking at regular people because of their skin color and accents, whereas before they didn't even have that law because they already understood you could deport anyone you want based on that premise, just as long as you don't put a TikTok or news reel around it so you can get attention for your next election campaign, or one of your people who got exposed for saying racist stuff like Hassan, or getting exposed for shocking his dog, or doing some weird shit like AOC just talking bullshit all the time. These people always associate with just white people only, which is why, again, the ICE protests and riots happened only when a white person was killed. But this same party that pretends to care about the people would never protest for black or brown, because they would wait till there's a black president so they wouldn't look extra evil or extra bad when they protest. So they used a tokenization in presidencies as well. My guess is after all this ICE protesting on all this immigration discussion, they'll probably try to put an Asian person who's black or a Latina up there who is a different race, third worlder, in order to defend the new concept of them invading South America, Latin America, or pushing this new identity that someone who cares about ICE or cares about the concept of the federal government is going to be someone who used to be a DA like Kamala Harris. And then they're just going to push that continuously, saying they're the good people. They got the election because they spoke for the people, which are just going to be immigrants and people who don't come from here, who don't know the culture. Hassan grew up 18 years in Ottoman fucking Turkey. his perception of reality is just completely different than the rest of ours, which is why there's a 2% Islamic Arab population in America, and they're spoken out for by such a heavy degree just because someone slept with someone in the House or Congress. That our entire system and political system as a sphere as a whole has been just completely destroyed and just ruined by the concept of these people constantly trying to get ahead in their political careers, trying to get ahead in their tribalistic careers, and trying to push people down. And you'll see a trail of people like in the Minnesota fraud scheme that they just give a bunch of their side pieces or people they sleep with like jobs that make 6 figures in those insane fraud. They took away the people's fraud and businesses started failing. They took away people's ability to do fraud and entire systems of people's livelihoods fell apart. You could just see exactly how this system works is that if you're a smart black person from Africa who comes from Somalia, you're more intelligent for screwing over Democrats, for thinking you're someone who's dumb and can't do anything, who can't do math or science, and just taking everything you possibly can, than you are actually hoping that one day that EBT or welfare can just help you out of poverty, which it never will. They will use that to push you into poverty, which multiple people I've spoken to in the working class has discussed this, is that a lot of the times they have to lie about their income just so they can keep getting benefits, because if they don't get those benefits, they will go hungry and starve, which is again why Democrats and the sock them left don't actually help you. They just want you to feel like you're getting help, and so you can be quiet and they'll just push their agenda again. They do not want to help you. They just want an election. They just want more money. They just want to hang out with more people who think they're smart, who think they're intelligent for what they're doing. They're going to encourage violence against the same people they fund and help it get to the top. And then they're going to pretend like the people in the working class who didn't agree with them unconditionally are the bad guys. These are just a bunch of brain dead, mindless people who move forward just purely off their paychecks and their people they're sleeping with or hanging out with in their free time, which is another word for just nepotism. They help uplift only their people, which is why the sock them left or Democrat left is just filled with a royal family that tries to get as close as possible through sexual networks or just creepy friendship groups that get all their ideas and then push it through a white person's mouth, and then when white people die they protest the white people. So again, the Republicans has always told you this country's ran by white people for white people, and when I go to the Democrat Party and say that's racist and disgusting, they will just turn to me and say, no, that's true, we have to work the white liberal perspective because minorities' opinions just don't matter. We don't swift the vote or change it in any way. Battleground states are white states, they're not black or brown. And so the majority of our laws in our legislations just come from a lot of people who kiss white people's ass, which is why again this immigration deporting people will skyrocket, while everyone else who tries to do the right thing will be looked at as a lesser. That also, I will not try to put them down all the way, but that might also be why the Democrat Party is forced to be in the position they're in. They are forced by the constituents or some weird donors. They'll be in a position where they look like the hero, and then someone will say they'll withdraw like hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you'll have someone like AOC saying she doesn't accept APAC money, but then she's technically accepting it through multiple different people. It's like this bullshit system, because none of these people like AOC or San or any of them will address it. They will never address it because this is the system that benefits them. It's a system that fucks people over and benefits only them. There's royal family that they're creating.
So we have slightly different questions, but these were all taken within the last month. And there's real uniformity here. That's what I really think you see. You see real uniformity. Deported all immigrants who are here illegally. 55% of the New York Times.
So overwhelmingly, most people want to deport all of the illegal aliens. Okay, well, there you go. Exactly. So this is what I've said before, right? The entire idea that this is an unpopular opinion is bullshit. It's a bullshit opinion.
At 64%, CBS News 57%, ABC News with a slightly different question, 56%.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which
64% is crazy,
I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters. Feelings towards immigration in this country.
This is what's crazy, is that deport all undocumented immigrants. And you remember in 2016, like Trump didn't even say that, and people were getting mad at him. But now look at this. It has almost, well, not really almost, but it's gone up by like fucking 50% almost. This is a crazy increase.
feelings towards undocumented immigrants and deporting all of them have become considerably more hawkish. And I think that gives Donald Trump much more leverage to go with the American people and sort of have these hawkish, some might say harsh, different rhetoric and also issue-based.
This is why they voted for him. This is what the people want. It is. Don't listen to some crying, hysterical Karen on social media. This is what people want.
It's not what the people want. Okay. I know to go back on what I just said, but him saying this is what the people want is exactly what I was talking about, how they use black people to attack black people. Him saying this is what people want is the exact reason why I'm mad at the Democrat Party. Because the Democrat Party in themselves makes it appear that this is the people's opinion. This again happens because of what they do with Obama. They put Obama up there during the BLM protests, right? It's... Okay. So, to talk about this is to talk about how some people say if Kamala was in charge, she still would have funded ICE and all these protests would probably been squashed because she would have kept it quiet. Right? That doesn't change the fact that a man died that shouldn't have. Right? This is the discussion that's happening. This is not the people's opinion because we just proved that the people's opinion could change depending on who you put in charge and who you pay for to change the public's opinion. That's what I said at the beginning. This is why a lot of the Democrat Party uses people of color to kill people of color. This is why, again, he is under the impression the majority of people want deportation. Because a lot of the people from the Obama administration still think we need to deport people. They think, in accordance to the Democrat Party's position, that we need to continue this operation. This is a continuation of the Democrats, and then under a Republican administration, prove to the Democrats why you should not have done this. Because the Republicans will abuse the camps that you built under the Obama administration when they told them, build this or else. He built it. Now he's taking the fall for it, and he's not even there. This is why whenever they bring up situations, we didn't do the genocide your people did, is why they put a lot of people of color in charge. And it's probably why they're trying to put the sock them AOC in charge, because she's going to be pushing for deportations as well. She's probably even tried to deport some people. She tries deporting people all the time. This is the Democrat left. This is why the continuation of the racism we face from people like Asmongold is because we have people like Kamala and AOC up top that will shit talk their own race. So whenever we go, oh, the Latinos cannot be deported, Latinos are being hate crimed, AOC can go up there and say, no, 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 no. That one right there specifically is a pedophile rapist. And now every single Latino they accuse, they'll bring up AOC. AOC will go, no, that one's a bad one. And they'll excuse its extermination or its complete deportation. This is why the Obama administration set up the Auschwitz camps, because the Auschwitz camps are being used right now by the Donald Trump administration, and now you can't call them out on it because they are being used by someone who built it by a black person. Now you're a racist if you bring it up, because if Obama does it, then it's not racist because he's black, and now you cannot talk about the immigration process at all. This again is a tactic a lot of people use in order to silence the opposition. They try to say, how can I be racist if a black person did it? Or a brown person like AOC? Or a white person like Hassan? Or even a white person like JD Vance? A continuation of how can they be racist if they're white but brown on the inside culturally, or brown and because you see them as Ottoman or Turkish but white on the inside because they understand American values. They switch it back and forth. They switch the skin color. They'll have black and brown, and then they'll have the discussion itself called racist, so that you can no longer even speak about what's happening through it. This is why a lot of the time they pick people out who are seen as what you would call a perfect picture, right? They're clean. They came from an oppressed background. They're making more money than the majority of the poor people that want to vote for them, but they're making way less money than all the Republicans with so much more cash that if you ever said the word 150K was good enough, that you would be laughed out of the rich Beverly Hills that you went into to get donations from. All right. So a lot of the time they always work for the perfect picture position, which is a lukewarm Goldilocks parable, which a lot of the time they use this insult toward me on the left, which they call the Latino parable, which is you're seen as an ugly Latino. You're seen as the inferior Latino, and that inferior Latino is seen as a right-wing conservative Latino, because now they'll say you're an incel, or you hate women, or that you wish you were white, and they'll try to insult your intelligence. And this is why they'll oftentimes push that narrative as well. It's a difficult thing to fight against because most of the time it is associated again with a lot of the hate-filled people's perspective. Now we're going to see again It's only been 2 minutes in this video and I can't stop ranting. But we're going to see again everything I say come to fruition right in front of your eyes.
Sort of going after immigrants who are here illegally, want immigration levels decreased. This includes legal and illegal immigration. Look at this. Last year, 55%.
Wow.
That is the highest level since the 9/11
I
after.
can see why it was low after 9/11. I can guess
You go back just to 2020.
And this again,
Yeah.
legal and illegal. So they want
Yes.
people want less people coming into the country.
Exactly.
Well, duh, of course, right? Whenever you're importing a bunch of people and they're driving down wages, absolutely you'd want less of them.
Exactly. They want less.
Again, low wages. What did he reference? He referenced no unions. He referenced no established community within the working class. That's why, again, these things happen. The Democrat left did not deliver. He cannot say this line that illegals bring down our wages if the left actually delivered jobs for us. Get it? He's not racist. He is forced to think this because of the Democrat Party's goddamn policies and bullshit narratives.
People
36% to 56% is a 55% increase? Oh my God. So people, okay, actually, you know what? We're not even going to talk about math.
coming into the country. Look at that. That's a 14-point rise from 2023.
Not
you go
gonna
back to
happen.
2016 when Donald Trump again was running for president the first time. It's 38%. That's a 17-point rise. So the bottom line is
A 17-point rise in 1 year is fucking ridiculous. This is the reason why they can't stop. If they stop doing this, they are literally not enforcing the will of the people. This is what they want.
more folks.
Again, like Democrats said, they are funding all of it. Democrats fund all of it. Republicans just push forward because someone has to get the job done.
Immigration only helps the rich. You're right. The only people that benefit from mass immigration are business owners and politicians that are able to capitalize on the votes. Those are the only.
Yep, the only ones to benefit. Remember what I said, people want to get elected through the new campaigning, and the people own the businesses because they can pay less. Bourgeoisie, the rich. That's why we call people like Hassan a champagne socialist, because he doesn't actually start any businesses. He just kind of sits back, and then he just like... This is why people like Hassan Piker never establish any businesses. It's because they do what they can to get money from the poor, and then they have sex with people who are probably established with the presidency, which is why a lot of these guys might be bragging about their sexual life while only associating with powerful people and are unable to be banned off websites like Twitch or off YouTube because they're established with a lot of powerful, rich people. Might have to pay attention to that. Why are these people allowed to support Iran and then kill a bunch of supporters and then turn around and then do a bunch of weird white supremacy talking points about Israel and still not get banned? Maybe he's sleeping with someone he had an interview with. Maybe the only way to survive accusations is to associate with people like him. Interesting. Make sure we can edit that later.
People that benefit from it. The average American worker does not benefit from it. Middle class people don't benefit from it. Working class people certainly don't benefit from it. The only people that do are upper middle class and upper class people that are able to exploit that labor. That's it.
Want people who are
It's
here
only
illegally
once.
deported, and their overall feelings towards immigration have become considerably
Yep.
more hawkish.
63% say they're okay with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and arrived in the last 4 years.
Yep.
87% are good with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have
87%.
criminal records.
Again, the insecurity these guys use. Already committed crimes, here illegally with criminal records, keyword criminal records. Go back a little bit. What do we see? Who arrived in illegally. See that? See how it changes? It went from deporting immigrants who illegally who arrived here the last 4 years to regular arrival. 63, still a lot. Still a lot. Right? But let's go a little forward to saying with criminal activity, right? Because they're bad men. It's like watching Marvel, right? And you have to tell Batman, no, you have to catch him. He's a bad guy. That's the level of intelligence we have on this side. All right? Give you a little reminder of what concept of smart people we're dealing with when it comes to propaganda and how a simple talking point can change a fuck ton of people's opinions.
3% say they're okay with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and arrived in the last 4 years.
Yep.
87%
87 fucking percent. Holy shit.
87% are good with deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have
87%.
criminal records.
87%. Literally, imagine going against something that has 87% support. That's crazy, isn't it? Oh my God. And I don't know what this is. Why not legal? Well, the reason why is because, so like, for example, H-1B visas. So if you bring over a guy from India and then you're able to pay that guy from India the same wage as that you're able to pay an American, the guy from India actually has an advantage over you. And let me explain the reason why. There is an extra level of job security, or security that the employer has, that Indian worker will maintain and stay at their job, and they will probably tolerate higher degrees of maybe mistreatment. They might tolerate higher degrees of overworking, and the reason why is because they don't want to lose their visa. So whenever you have something that you can hold over their head and then use that as leverage to make them do things that you want, then yeah, absolutely, that plays a huge role.
All right, Asmongold just described slavery. When you use someone's deportation against them to do what you want and to keep them loyal to your job, that's slavery. You're threatening to remove a person's safety, security, housing, ability to earn, and where they are located, and the cultural influence to be robbed of them for the sake of you having a loyal worker. What this man just described is slavery. All right? Just to remind people that if you ever wondered how the slaves were created, they can be created in any era. He is talking about enslaving people, and that job security is when you can hold it over their head to do what you want, including report people if needed, because they will complain about safety issues. What the fuck? So he's a slave owner. He's like mad he can't own slaves.
It does. Threat to deportation if they lose their job. Exactly. So that's the reason why. So even if you're competing on a completely even playing field, like systematically that person has a more appealing, like who do you want to like, this is a good question, right? If you're an employer, who do you want to have working with you, right? Do you want to have the person working for you? Do you want to have the person that can quit whenever they want and just go work somewhere else? Or do you want to have the person whose entire life is tied to your company?
Holy shit, he's talking. Okay, do you want the person who can quit whenever you want, or the person who is who is stuck to the job because their whole livelihood depends on it? Well, I would prefer free men, right? Men who are free. It's kind of what America's about. It's like fucking awesome that these guys have tons of followers, by the way, and these are like the people dictating our future because they just accidentally influence someone famous or rich. It's awesome. It's great. Such a great feeling. Definitely not concerning whatsoever. Um, the only reason he's talking about any of this is because a white person got shot, by the way. People of color have been getting shot like crazy. He never covers it. People are starting to talk about what we support and don't support. If you kill white people the same way you kill black people and no one cares, you're in a fascist shithole. Anyone who knows that came from studies of World War II or have family members who died in World War II and Nazi Germany, a lot of the times guys like this are the ones that kill your family. Because it wasn't the Hitler that killed you, it was the mailman, the next door neighbor, it was the person walking down the street waving at you. These people who kill your family are mainly like people like Asmongold, because they say simple jokes, they laugh at it, they shrug it off, they don't think it's serious, they say extremely seriously awful things about people and then disappear it like it was nothing, and they influence people. Whether they know it or not, they influence people to do the same as them, and they start to parrot the same talking points, and they multiply and go again and again and again. You can try to change the world, but you can't if you have people like this constantly giving falsehoods. He is again openly advocating for slavery in the year of 2026. This man has not been banned off anything. He has not been censored. He has not been arrested. And he is openly advocating for something that if we were outside walking down the street, he probably would get his ass beat for saying. Very interesting concept with this whole political commentary situation, because me saying he would get his ass beat sounds like a threat until you realize he's advocating for fucking slavery, right? Like literal fucking slavery, trying to tell you, no, 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 like, who would you rather have work for you? Someone who can just leave? You want people to leave? It's like, what the fuck? Okay, so Asmongold's the enemy of the human race so far. Like humanity itself. As of right now, I probably need to retract the statement about AOC on the left. So that's gonna be an edit. That's gonna be a motherfucker to figure out once this asshole just fucking talks about owning slaves. It's fucking great. Thanks. 20 minutes out my fucking day.
Well, you want to have the person whose entire life is tied to your company because that person is going to try to work harder and you can take advantage of them more easily and they don't really have a recourse for it as much.
Did he just say you could take advantage of? Who the fuck let this man outside of a fucking Arkham Asylum? Batman couldn't create a villain like this. What the fuck is this? Hold on, we need to rewind this shit.
Person whose entire life is tied to your company. Well, you want to have the person whose entire life is tied to your company because that person is going to try to work harder and you can take advantage of them more easily and they don't really have a recourse for it as much. Armed protest.
You can take advantage of people easily and there's no recourse for. He's a slave owner. He's literally a slave owner. And look, he's gonna. Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. How can ICE agents keep shooting protesters, armed protesters the second they see an ICE agent? It's gonna be like a goof. It's gonna be. Oh my god, the memes will continue. Holy shit. It's a reference to like, what is it? The punishments or the beheadings will continue. It's like the monarchy. Like they will continue just memeing on you as they kill your family. Holy shit, they're Satan.
The second they see an ICE agent. You shouldn't do that. They threw a frozen brick. Wait, what is this here? What, they got these animals going crazy?
They got these animals going crazy. He calls them animals. So he wants to control people. He wants to hold your job over you. And he's selling the idea that holding your life against you is okay to do while addressing you as an animal. So he wants to own you like property while calling you an animal. And then when you address him, he'll make a joke of it and say you're like the Grinch Dr. Seuss meme. These are fascists.
They're everywhere. Shut the fucking doors. Shut the door. Shut the.
Look at them.
Fucking doors. Whoa.
It's a water bottle.
We're fucking press. We're press. Do you know what the First Amendment is? First Amendment. Yes or no? They threw
No, they don't.
a frozen
Ice.
ice brick at the car.
Take off your vest.
The shame shit is retarded and cringe. Well, I think that it makes a lot of sense. These are people whose ideology and their entire worldview is derived from Marvel movies and popular media. So
His alright, so right now he's projecting. He's saying their inspiration is Marvel media and like social media and shit. He's scrolling down Twitter. I don't think. Hold on, let's rewind. I want an accurate depiction of what he said.
worldview is derived from Marvel movies and popular media.
Popular media and Marvel movies. He's scrolling Twitter right now. His opinion comes from Twitter. He just quoted slave owners and called people animals. His inspiration comes from the slave era, the KKK, also known as Nazi Germany or American Foundation of Manifest Destiny. It's fascinating that his influence should put him in prison. The other side's influence just means they're a little upset and had to go out of their regular day-to-day lives to care about a bunch of fascists and men who wish they were Napoleon. I think the entire concept as a whole is not as bad as he says it is. When you're looking at the opposing side being a bunch of fascist men who think they can do whatever they want unchecked until someone shoots back at them. Or they kill someone unjustifiably. God, look at what's trending too. Someone just died ice and what's trending is Brandon Miller, Nick Nurse, Stephen Miller, and AR-15. When I see stuff like this, I'm not gonna lie, it does kind of make me feel like politics died a long time ago. Like there's just a bunch of people just like joking around, like they clock off of work and they just kind of half-ass it, go back to their life. Wow, this is actually kind of sad. The majority of people in America don't realize they're the most powerful entity that's ever existed in human history, and that this country has the power to completely eviscerate entire groups of people's lives, and it's being controlled by a Dr. Pepper drinking greasy cockroach king guy and his opinions that got retweeted by the vice fucking president. And then like Hassan, which is like the boy toy or something of like a bunch of women or some shit, is just that's like our political sphere. Anyone under them's probably like a huge Democrat soy boy, and then anyone in the Republican sphere is just like super insecure soy boy who went to the gym and got super ripped and just still wants to kill people. The left does too. It's just like two serial killer idiots that think they're better than the other side. They're just both use the money they should be using to make their lives better, but they just are at like a plateau of good enough that they just continuously just won't shut up, and they just continuously fuck up our country because they both think they matter when they don't. Fuck my life.
So it would logically make sense that a movie scene that was very well seen, it was very popular and, you know, well established in Game of Thrones would be the way that they see the world, because they're looking at it through the lens of just basically TV shows. They think it's a TV show.
I've spent my entire adult life in law enforcement, and I have never heard of one law enforcement agency not helping another when they call for help.
It's ridiculous. You're right.
Until this weekend, when a chief of patrol, where the Chicago Police Department instructed the police officers not to run in and help.
All right, so Judd's pissed that a lot of local police officers are pissed off at ICE because the federal agents always fight with local police on the premise of just regulation and policy, as well as just their open racism toward the local populace. Which is why ICE has always taken the blame for the racist stops in policing, whereas the regular local police just stopped helping them because they're pulling over family members of the police, and they just hated that every single fucking time they had to address the ICE members. It was because someone was justifiably pissed at the ICE member for racially profiling them in the United States of America, making them remember all those World War II teachings about Auschwitz fucking Germany.
Your colleagues who were calling for help, who were under attack by a bunch of people clearly violating the law. That's scary.
It is. You leave that. You let the mob decide, and people are going to get killed.
Let me give you the antithesis of that. We had a single man resist ICE agents and get away from them in our
one guy
community. We sent a helicopter, a drone, K9, and 50 law enforcement officers to surround an area, and we found that guy.
Gotcha, bitch. You thought? Yeah, 6 stars? Yeah. Holy fuck, man.
Who violently resisted ICE, and we locked him.
Violently resisted ICE. Okay, the loyalty with some of these police is just okay. Judd is like such a textbook conservative dickhead, right? So he just obey, just follow the orders, go to jail. Fine, if you're innocent, you're fine. Just go to jail, obey. Problem with people like that is they agree with the concept of everyone is an animal, kind of like Asmongold, and you would be nothing without the police or the federal agents. So his mindset's pretty simple. Ignore politics. Those politics or politicians as a whole only exist because we allow them as police, as military, and that's pretty much it. Like, we're here to hold the line against the savage beasts, also known as the civilian populace. That's why a lot of the time these guys look like cold, hardcore motherfuckers, because you can't really hold them accountable, or they will put you in jail. Because they will find something to put you in jail for, because their mercy has always been, we're here holding the peace, and without us, you are all the opposite. You are pure chaos. You are pure disorder and unjust action continuously occurring until the established place that you call politicians can suddenly get a bunch of people to make excuses to kill people with control, which is regulation policy, and discipline enough to not kill the person who insulted them, to reestablish the police and federal agencies who are just a bunch of psychopaths who want to kill people, but someone has to do the job. So when you find someone to do the job or leadership, you realize that a lot of these people in the suits who go in politics, usually don't know what they're talking about. And when that happens, they usually come out with these statements because they have a bunch of men who'd kill for them and slaughter for them to defend the country. Angry, justifiably so. And when you have to take those men and compare them to the, oh, I don't know, 250,000 protests that none of them would shoot or kill a single person with because they get angry and still won't do shit, they're more concerned about the police and the military shooting and killing them than they are the majority of the civilian population just writing a tweet complaining about it or sending an angry letter or a phone call to their local senator. This is why a lot of the times people like this get tons and tons of leeway in saying whatever the fuck they want. Because at the end of the day, if someone goes there to chew him out as a politician, they would have to call his men and his people to defend them. So a lot of the time, these guys get very upset with federal agents and people with the local policing when they don't do what they do in their state or state area, because a lot of other states went through different situations where you'll have a majority white country, or sorry, state. That majority white state will call in the police, but the police will get angry with the federal agents because the federal agents are untrained. They could be acting like foreigners more than the people who are actually foreign. And therefore, they'd have to address that and get into a huge argument where they get called liberal or Democrat or commie for not siding with federal agents unconditionally, which will create a polarized situation between the police and the federal agents. This, of course, is going to cause a huge infighting, which is going to cause a lot of situations to occur where the federal agents are fighting with local police, which you see now. This is a guy that's not even in Minnesota making a statement about it because he was upset about the infighting of the federal agents and local police. This happened already in San Diego years ago when ICE already had uncontrolled permissions to arrest people. What happened was Obama's administration had to pull them back, had to say you cannot stop people because of skin color and an accent. Things calmed down, but the deportations increased because a lot of the time, once you get the regulations and policies in line, it's easier to circumvent the lies and the deceit in order to deport people. Now you have a bunch of racist people going around stopping anyone. You have a lot more issues and mistakes happening that could occur to reach back to your police precinct or people that you care about, which then gets this result where you have people in the local area Minneapolis angry, but then you have people like this guy who's not even in Minneapolis telling you that you should have just obeyed the same way they talk to civilians, except now they're talking to police officers. Now they see the perspective of the civilian of another cop telling another cop to do their job and know your place, which is gonna cause fighting within the men that I call the warrior class, which are people who fight, kill people with legal rights, and still have the right to vote.
Up in jail where he should have been.
Oh my God.
If you allow anarchists and criminals to run wild in your community,
Yeah,
people will die.
exactly. You can't let that happen. You aggroed the Florida police. Not the most efficient way, waste of resources. It is the most efficient way because you're not thinking about the future things that they don't have to do because they've done such a dramatic show of force that people realize that it's not worth trying to escape. You're only thinking about it inside of the context of the individual action and not what that action represents as a larger, basically messaging tool to everybody else.
People will be shot. Now, let me say this. For other law enforcement leaders across this state and nation, you need to be standing up saying the same exact thing that I am.
Exactly, 100%.
Because when you have
You're
a
right.
breakdown of
You're
the
right.
rule of law, when you allow anarchists,
Goof clowns,
criminals to take over the streets and attack law enforcement officers and then not send them help, that's a slippery slope. A real slippery slope.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to see this, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was born in Florida, It
don't matter, funky bitch. You ain't one of them fucking things around here, ho. All these fucking illegal ass immigrants in this motherfucker, and I gotta stand outside for illegal? Fuck you, white bitch. I hate you, illegal immigrant motherfuckers, and I hope ICE gets you bitches. Take you back to those shitholes. And I'm gonna see you again, my nigga. For shit show, you hear me? I'm gonna make sure you mind your fucking business. Bunch of fucking illegal immigrants.
Justified crash out. I'm gonna say it.
Remember what I said about the Obama administration? Guess which group they helped to divide the Latino from? Right? Well, black people are screaming illegal immigrants, and look who's happy. You got a white boy in the corner going, he justified crash out. Hmm? Now that's fucking interesting. That was not justified. Whoo, shit. Here we go. Here we go. This is the one everyone's been worried about. Black people and Latinos fighting. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Because if we don't do this right and we fight in the wrong way, that's a Republican administration like a motherfucker for a while. Oh, shit. Oh, we're going to have to bring our best. We're going to have to bring our best. Okay. Jesus Christ. He's mad. I just got to see what this white boy got to say. Because he says, the black man says, fuck you, white bitch. And he's about to see, like, right here, that in his head, he's not thinking about himself. Which is, it's going to be so beautiful to see.
Justified crash out. You have this shit happen. You've been to a hospital. This is the way it is. It is. Like, he's right.
In his eyes, that white bitch that called a white bitch by the black person was a white liberal, by the way. The white liberal, the illegal immigrant, which I guess would be me in this situation, and then him agreeing with the black guy going, I get you, brother. And he's like pushing the conservative Republican talking points and shit, drinking his Dr. Pepper. He's like, I'm a millionaire by playing World of Warcraft. I know what I'm talking about, bro. Whoa, my fault, dude. Didn't mean to transmog your fucking skin color there, bro.
And he is so right about this. I like to see this. Fucking finally, man. Racial buff? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, see, they're talking about it. Racial buff. They're talking about the tokenism. You got black card. You got, oh, shit. Whoo, shit. This is, I'm in the hive. I'm in the hive. The hornet hive.
He should have called ICE. Yeah. Are you experiencing long wait times in the emergency room? Well, look around. Are there people that aren't speaking English? Call Immigration and Customs Enforcement right now, and you can save up to 1 hour in the emergency room.
This guy's a piece of fucking shit, dude. Hear an accent call ICE is gotta be like you gotta be like sitting there with Himmler and like Goebbels and like Hitler himself is like, yo, what's up, dude? And you're like, oh, what's up, dude? And then when you get called out for it, you get the Elon Musk talking point where it's like, nah, dude, I was just saying like hello from the heart. You guys are so weird. Like the Goebbels and the Himmler right next to him. And he's just like, call ICE if you hear someone with an accent. I was like, oh, fucking Gestapo would have loved that shit.
1-800-ICE. It's a great idea, yeah. And yeah, we joke, but what's this here? Couldn't he do that? Maybe he could. I don't know if he could or not. I don't think they'd just show up and be like, all right, where's the Mexicans? I don't think that's how it works, okay, guys? Where's all the Mexicans?
So they're just openly saying it. Where's the Mexicans? So the Venezuelan line is dead. We're back to the old school when I used to grow up and people would say there's the Mexican, there's the illegal Mexican. So they're hitting old school level racism right now. It's pretty interesting. It means that we're probably going to have to arm ourselves, defend ourselves. Don't talk to white people or people who are edgy or say edgy humor. I went through this similarly recently. I found out people I grew up with were edgy and racist as fuck and I had to get away from them, because a lot of their humor just leaked over to them being sociopaths and just evil people, just absolutely the worst kinds ever. You're gonna find out how easy it is. One of them literally was like, I'm Jewish, kill me, and he's like a brown guy who looks nothing like he's Jewish. It's like, these are the dumbest fucking people you've ever met in your life. Trust me. Like the last ICE agent who killed someone, his wife was like a Filipina and he was a white guy. That's literally the group of people who attacked me, and it's like turning into a template that you can spot a mile away, which is the Asian white man combo. Very, very, very common when it comes to racism, because the Asians know that when you leave a country that cares about community and enter a country that only cares about yourself and killing everyone that isn't your little tiny tribe, then they know they gotta roll tide with the fucking white boys. Like, anyone with that golden badge or bronze badge is the only way you're living. You need someone in DC, you need someone in government. If you're an Asian and you actually want to be someone more than just like some pet to a minority, then you're gonna have to actually just fuck like the most powerful, richest men in the area, which is gonna be police, military, government positions, anything that can get you resources or gain ahead of anyone else. Otherwise, you're just going to end up a pet to like a really poor person who's a minority who can't get you any money. these narratives continued for such a long time that they're literally just known throughout time as something that happens. It's called passport, bro.
Nice promo. Yeah, it's not how it works, guys. Yeah, it should. No. And anyway, so we've had, if you can believe this, another one got loose.
People going, you can't say that. You can. I did. People go.
So you got her on social media going hog wild. You got her going hog wild on social media. And this is a problem. And I don't really know exactly. Damn, I burned my motherfucking hand. I didn't even realize that. Holy shit. Damn, I burned my fucking hand. Look at that. Can y'all tell if I burned my hand just a little bit? I cooked myself a pizza last night, and I tried to reach in the oven. I burned my hand. So anyway, this fat retard, let me get back to what I was saying before. This fat retard is now getting arrested. And a librarian, 28, who appeared to call to assassinate Trump, has scrubbed her TikTok and has went private on Instagram after we exposed her every time. Well, I can know where she's probably not private on. Uber Eats.
Alright, so he's making fun of like what looks like someone who's 38, a mom, gamer. She says she's elder emo, so probably just likes a lot of color black, has some depression issues or something. Calling to assassinate Trump from a disabled person, probably just like a white person seeing a black person in their neighborhood. They want to over exaggerate it, but if this person's calling to kill Trump, then yeah, I bet probably some investigation, because Trump is probably like one of the most killable presidents we've ever seen. There's probably like a full team working on that shit nonstop, because he's just like the most unlikable fucking person you've ever met. He's got to be just the most gross human you've ever seen. Every accusation under the sun, every fucking just sad woman you've ever seen defending him, and every single guy who's been like the most textbook example of just a pathetic human just surrounding him. I promise you they're investigating every single death threat or in every single attempted just even a joke like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen to him next week. He's like, oh, I promise you these morons are just terrified of just look at her. They're making fun of her, and Asmongold's making fun of her because she's like a fat woman who like wants to kill herself through emo or whatever. 100% they're still treating it like it's a serious threat because they're just terrified Trump's gonna die to like some disabled person, and they think she's the disabled person. So it's you have a lot of idiots like that. I mean, he's even laughing at it. Like him thinking she's a threat is probably the entire reason he's laughing, more so than her threatening.
Every fucking day, bro. Like, all I do is I just make DoorDash the frame too easy. Yeah, it's just like, this is just all I do, man. Every fucking day. And, wow, he just killed a woman? Yeah, I guess so. And, they gotta go after these people. They do. 38-ish? Okay, so she's 43. Elder emo? Well, it makes sense. Instead of cutting herself, she's killing herself with her weight instead. A gamer. Oh, boy. I live in perpetual anxiety. I would have never expected. Oh, here we go. LMFAO. It's been revealed that the Georgia high school where students staged a mass ICE walkout only has 6% math proficiency and a 16% reading.
I hate when these motherfuckers bring shit out like this. Because it's like saying it's not the brightest people protesting ICE, you know what I'm saying? And then protesting ICE is like immigration. So you have like the dumbest people protesting ICE being like, we're against ICE, and they can't even read or write or do a math equation. It's just got to be like the biggest like proof to them. You know what I mean? That's why Eric Dougherty, whatever. I can't. Oh, fuck, I couldn't read that. Fuck my life. Just validated the fuck out there. You know what? Fuck it.
Proficiency. Not shocking in the slightest.
Got on this new reporting that we just heard from our Kristen Holmes at the White House.
That fucking shit. try it. We're skipping. We're skipping. We're skipping a lesson to teach you one. Good one. I hate to say this, guys, but I would totally be a part of this if I was in high school. I would. Like, any time that there was an excuse to not go to class, I would take it. Like, after September 11th, I said that I was religious, and so they would let me go and leave so I could say prayers for the people that got killed. I just wanted to leave class so I could go to the vending machines. Yeah. Understandable. Man. The thing is, they probably let the kids do this, too. We turned down. It's loud. Did they spell any words right? They got something in Spanish. It's hard to say. It's indoctrination. Yeah, the teacher's probably letting them do this. That's what it is. Man. So a high school where nobody knows how to read or do math is against ICE. Well, that sounds...
Yeah, there he is. And he even said himself he'd skip a day if he was, like, there. So it's not really about the reading or comprehension shit. He just... Again, he would skip school, too.
That's about right. Yep, sure. Don't you think it's problematic that schools are a breeding ground for propaganda? Of course. That's why I think we should propagandize them differently. As I said before, we need to get every annoying SJW Karen teacher, and we need to replace them with a former military veteran. That's the solution.
This guy just wants everything to be military. It's insane. His dad was in the military. He passed away. Rest in peace to that guy. But you see the American flag? Like, he's just proud of, like, growing in a mentality of loving this country and serving it. That's it. His dad's pretty chill, I bet. But the concept's pretty simple. It's just like he's indoctrinated to this ideology of just making sure he's always on top. America #1. Just obey the orders. You're fine. I've been in contact with a lot of guys like this. For the most part, they just stay in their corner. They're not really violent people, but they like to encourage the violent ones, which is a little unfortunate. It's propaganda. I could be seen as someone like that because I'm just talking shit online. So I think his president, what he wants to set sounds cool to him, but he's never read or watched the documentaries where everyone just dies and gets slaughtered and raped en masse, and he thinks that's so far away it won't happen fast or in a couple minutes or a couple weeks or anything that will make him snap out of it, but make him realize, oh, I should have stopped a long time ago. He is a very simple person.
Is that we get these obnoxious Karens out of the schools and we replace them with combat veterans. And after that, all these kids are going to sit in their seat. There's going to be no problem. They're going to learn what a triangle is. They're going to understand the Pythagorean theorem. They're going to know what a percentage is. They'll be able to divide by fractions. And they'll sit in their fucking chair. That's what they got to do. That's the solution. You hire veterans and you have them teach the kids. That's what we had in our school. And everything was fine. We had teachers and we would just say, shut the fuck up, bitch. We are going to listen to you. You think we're going to listen to you? Shut the fuck up. And then there were other teachers that we'd say, like, sir, do you need help passing out the... Oh, yeah, sure. I'll help you pass out the books. Yeah, okay, so World War II started in 1939. Yeah, that was the World War II, that was the war that your father beat the Nazis in? Yeah, of course, right. Yeah, my grandfather did that. And that was...
So he only gets the respect out of the World War II concept if you actually served. Interesting. It's a concept, again. Do it yourself, earn it yourself, and therefore no one can tell you shit. American concept, pretty easy. Conservatives have it. Leftists do too. It's called nationalist communism for the left side, and for the right-wing side, it's just called conservative Christianity, which is manifest destiny. You work hard, you get it yourself. No one gave you the handout, you did it yourself. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people. I know that people like Hassan come from the nepotist background. People like Asmongold come from the nepotist background because his family served military and they got out of it through it. They believe they deserve the benefits. Like he was on EBT or would have been, I guess. I think he was on welfare, but he's on government benefits because at one point he was at his lowest and he believed his family deserved to be taken care of because of their sacrifice that they did for this country. He does not see the same thing with working class people or the people in general, which is unfortunate. But he does see a perspective there, which is why he's describing right now a difference between respecting someone and listening to someone because they're hired. All right. Kind of like electing Obama. People think he was cool, but people didn't think he himself was great. They thought his skin color was great, which is why he's oftentimes thrown away. A lot of the time, people think this guy's like a big deal. He's not big as MLK Jr. or Fred Hampton or even Malcolm X. He's just seen as a president who happened to be black. This is why a lot of the time talking points of Republicans say he was only there because he was black. A lot of the time people don't freak out if Obama's there. His speeches don't exactly change the world every time he opens his mouth. So the concept is pretty simple. The same way he talks about the teachers, the same way we all look at politicians. There's a difference between a politician who just gets put up there and a politician who is going to change history and the world because they're someone you respect so much so that you will say anything to get their respect back. This is called teaching someone, guiding someone, leading someone. It's why a lot of students look up to teachers sometimes, say this was my favorite teacher and this one was not. It's because that same concept carries for the rest of your life when you look up to a presidency or someone in charge and they have to be that person that you love and respect. He describes it very clearly in his own perspective, what I call an American white cultured perspective.
That's it. You know, there were no problems. Yes, sir. No, sir. Learn about World War II every fucking day, man. And now it'd be like, you know, the Iraq War maybe, or, you know, I don't know, maybe still World War II, right? I mean, shit. So that's it, is you have these obnoxious teachers that are out there teaching the kids bullshit, and then it's making them retarded. Hundreds of Somali-owned businesses are on the verge of bankruptcy. On the urge of bankruptcy due to the surge of illegal agents in Minneapolis. Here we go.
Everybody was dreaming to open business this small.
I don't know.
But not anymore. It's very slow. We're not making any money.
Not making any money?
This problem is continuous. I don't think we can have our businesses.
So as soon as they cut out all of the money, all of the fraud money, everybody runs. Everybody mysteriously starts going out of business. I just What? No way! Wow, how could this happen? We're broke. Wait, what? What do you mean as soon as they stop getting all the money from fraud, they're able to, you know, they're not able to make any money anymore? That's crazy.
I live South Minneapolis. If you walk around, like, you know, you think nobody lives the area. I think ICE is here to destroy it.
I hope so.
Minneapolis, harassing people, closing our businesses. We have to come out and, you know, fight our rights.
Your rights. Man. It's USAID 2.0? Yeah. You got no right to. Yeah, guys, what are we doing here? We have these people like, oh my God, rights to be deported. I know. Every single one of these people that are net negative taxpayers, they've got to go back. They do. They've got to go back. Anybody involved in any of this fraud, they've got to go back. I don't care. Oh, I'm a citizen. Not anymore. We're just gonna delete it, and then you send it back.
Okay. So it started off with him saying they're animals. It turned into a concept of denaturalizing them, getting rid of their citizenship. It turned into these people can't read or write. It turned into just because they're different skin color and accent, we have the right to stop them. It turned into now denaturalizing citizenships and kicking out people who they just don't like, who are either doing crime. So now if you ever did a crime, you're not an American. If If you have an accent, you're not an American. If you have different skin color, you're not an American. If you disobey police, you're not an American. If you dare to even speak out in the First Amendment, you're not an American. The concept is turning very, very, very quickly into a system that we swore the Second Amendment was for, which is to shoot people when they do tyranny like this. People like Asmongold, back in the day when there were still men, because a lot of us were working jobs and those jobs could actually buy us stuff like a gun. We would have dealt with a lot of people in self-defense who policing or arresting us would have resulted in shootouts, which so far there's no shootout. There's a man with a legally armed gun who is a working man, a nurse, who is dead for rightfully bearing arms, for not shooting a cop, but for being thrown on the ground while disarmed to be shot dead. So he had the right to bear arms. We're talking about the guy who died. We're not talking about rebellion. No one's being advocated to do rebellion. I'm not going to do a 38-year-old mom emo fucking rebellion post. But what I am going to tell you is that even if you armed yourself and you used the Second Amendment to your right, surrendered your gun like you're supposed to and followed orders, you know what happens, right? They fucking kill you. Right? So that guy followed the law. He's dead. Okay? So Asmongold saying revoke citizenships, kill the animals, and dehumanization and the polarization is going to lead to what is essentially going to happen is a impromptu civil war. Because it's impromptu, because the side they're fighting doesn't want to fight back. It's just going to be continuous slaughter. There's going to be a higher kill count for a lot of ICE arrests, a lot more dead third worlders, as they say, and no one's going to do anything because they're going to utilize the same system they used during the Democrat Party to kill people, which is they're going to say, no, we're in support of the people. We're deporting people, but humanely. This person resisted, so they deserve to die. The same talking points, but it'll work because now there's melanated people or tokens to defend themselves with, which is why I said the Democrat Party is a very big threat, very serious threat to the Latino population, black populations, because a lot of the immigrants that come in between the black and the Latino is oftentimes the ones that we're discussing need to be protected. The Muslims will run to the Latino or the black races to get protection. Somalians are black. They're Muslim. They'll run there. A lot of Saudi Arabians or a lot of Arabians are brown, Muslim. They'll run to the Latinos. A lot of the time, the people that would protect them is a 50-50 split between black and Latino. The white race just picks up whoever hates both and then tells them, you should like us, we like everyone. That's it. This is why I keep telling people that fascism is on the rise. And I don't mean it's not here. I mean, they have their headquarters. They have their leadership. They're just raising the numbers of infantrymen to knock on your doors and kill people with. That's it. They'll get leftists on their side to find the leftists and expose the left. And then they'll get right-wingers on the side to get the right-wingers who are not 100% loyal or aren't putting forward their best foot forward to show that they're better. This is dehumanization level of warfare or dehumanization level of shit-talking or propaganda. So when bad things happen to people, they will feel justified in calling them animal or inhumane or uncivil in order to enact unjust action upon them. Which is why, again, people like Asmongold are pretty much like the Jobbles of modern time because he can't take him serious. He's such a greasy loser. But at the same time, no one else is allowed to talk like he does because they're all like too official, have accreditation, or have degrees. And so he's kind of like an unaccredited man who can talk whatever he wants because he can't lose anything. He's already in a position where he has his own money through talking shit. He does it to such a degree he knows how not to get banned or in trouble, and he's pretty much like an untouchable white spokesman for them. Fascinating, in my opinion.
Back. Problem solved.
I was volunteering last 3 days.
And what I think is funny is that we can send them back. This is the 500 IQ strategy, okay? You send them back to Somalia, and then you're going to have a few do-gooder Democrat, virtue signal politicians that will go over to Somalia to meet with these people. What if they get captured? Yeah.
What he describes is already operating. He's talking about a literal ambassador.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't like going to El Salvador. I mean, there's a reason why El Salvador, they went over there. Yeah, they go out there and they could get captured. And exactly. And then the problem solved. Now they're stuck in Somalia. Not our problem. Exactly.
All right, let's just do a little fact checking here. As of late 2026, Richard H. Riley IV concluded his tenure as the United States ambassador to Somalia. So he is the ambassador to Somalia. All right, now let's see this. Does the USA Somalia ambassador visit Somalia? Yes, the U.S. ambassador to Somalia, along with other U.S. personnel, regularly travel to Somalia for official business, specifically visiting the capital, Mogadishu. Although the U.S. mission to Somalia is based in Nairobi, Kenya, a permanent diplomatic presence was re-established in Mogadishu in 2018, allowing for in-country diplomatic operations.
I'm afraid.
So, 500 IQ idea, pretend like you're inventing politics while politics already exists, and then pretend like your opinion matters anyway. Nice.
A lot of them are second-generation immigrants. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe you can just put those in jail.
Days to explain in my community.
The last 3 days.
Tell them how important
ICE
it is
has
to do
leave.
assembly, to do the protesting. ICE, we will see you. Everybody.
We'll see. Jesus, man. Oh, my God. So here it is. What a coincidence that once we exposed and cut off the Somalian daycare scams, that all these other Somalian businesses started going down. It's another mystery that no one can explain. What is this? Who's this? Who's this?
Around how fucking angry I am. And every MAGA, I want to punch you in the fucking face. I want to beat you up until you are pulp on the ground. I want to curb stomp the shit out of you. If you voted for Donald Trump, come tell me in the comments. I'm going to find where you fucking live. I'm going to beat up your whole fucking family. If you have a 5-year-old kid, I'm going to pick them off too. I fucking hate you guys.
You're going to kill the 5-year-old kid? I told y'all we got to bring back asylums. This bitch off a rocker.
You're choosing violence, you're choosing war instead of peace on American.
Can you imagine how nice? Like, we'd have flying cars. We would. We'd have flying cars if we took all these people and we just put them in jail. We did. We'd put them in jail, institutionalize them, get rid of all the immigrants that are wasting our money, get rid of all the illegals, get rid of the crazy people. And that's really all you have to do. We'd have flying cars. No CVS would have anything locked up. You could go to...
What he's talking about now is what I call a capitalist utopian theory. It's this idea that capitalism will bring this utopian society to a modern sense when they are just being extra cruel to what they believe are the consequences of their own actions. Now, because of this capitalistic utopian perspective, they think that killing people who do crime will suddenly evaporate the crime, that suddenly hurting people or threatening people if they don't get to the place they're supposed to or stay in line will suddenly help them, that getting rid of dumb people would suddenly eviscerate dumb people as a whole, that when you show someone for being dumb there's punishment, they will all be smart all of a sudden. We've tried this before. You can go to a place in San Diego called Old Town. They'll literally show you like paddle boards you beat children with when they didn't pay attention in school. And they'd show you the prisons that were so terrible that they just kill you because they wanted to free up space. And it came from a place called the Wild West. And they'll show you a place where you have nothing but the land to forge for because they don't have jobs. And they call that the gold rush, where they have a bunch of people run to a place with money and then a lot of people die just to get there. And they used to call that a bunch of migrants and caravans that went there that were white people that were colonizing this land. So if you studied history, you'd actually know why a lot of the things that a lot of these white people like Asmongold advocate for is actually such a devolved, out-of-date process of justice and how you treat people as human beings, that the entirety of what he has described is now considered not only slavery, abuse of children, but a threat to democracy and the modern sense of liberty and justice for all that we all swore and pledged our allegiance to every morning. So his concept of how to make this world better is just reminding us that dumb white people that ruined this country still exist, and they still push for the same historical things that we can reference as why it's bad and why it just does not work. These are people who do not read books. These are people who do not care for accredited people's opinions. These are people who don't research. These are the enemy of humanity. These are the abyss ignorant people, the very ignorant people that a lot of us people who are intelligent, who are wise, who I call people of light, which is a reference to how all of us have intelligence into our head. because the people of light is a reference to how the sun feeds the feed of the cattle, which is the grass, which the cattle just eats, and then we eat the cattle in what I would call, or so would Hassan call, the burger Reich, where we eat our hamburger, where we wouldn't have our hamburger if it weren't for the sun. Some of us in our society worship the sun and call that God. Fine. Liberty says you can do that. Some of us are scientists and understand that the sun fed the plant and the plant fed the cow fed us, and therefore our ideas come from the light, the sun, and therefore we understand that we are people of light or intelligence, and we are people that eat food and know that eating food gives us ideas because it comes from the sun, and that's a metaphor. Get it? We are people of light and intelligent people. We understand people like Asmongold over here. Very simple people. We call those people of the abyss. People of not that much food, because you can see he's scrawny and very fragile. This is something that we notice with the abyss people. The light people, very bunch of sizes. We judge them by their intelligence, because the intelligence will explain to you why they're their size or why they do what they do. If they are small, they'll say, I don't exercise. Someone of the abyss like Asmongold will say, oh, but I thought you guys were body positivity. He'll be insecure. We are the men of we are the men of security and insecurity when it comes to arguing with the abyss, because the abyss can snuff out the light sometimes. You sometimes have to admit that when you lower yourself to their level, they will beat you with the experience of stupidity. This is why a lot of the times when you push forward for intelligence, a lot of these people will hate you for being the person of the light, person of truth telling. This is why I call myself a person of light. It is not a reference to Judaism. It is a reference to intelligence and wisdom. This man is stupid.
Walmart, and you could just buy, this is crazy. You could just go to the electronics section. These are granola bars, but pretend it's a video game. You could just pick it up and you could say, I'm going to take this to the front. And then you take it to the front and you buy it.
They've done that for ages. Before all this came up, GameStop used to have empty video games in the cases, and you just take the cover to them and they put the game inside of it so that you can take the game home. It's a trust system like that he's thinking of exists in rural areas, and in rural areas they'll tell you themselves that they get robbed all the time. That's why it's a trust system. It's you have access and you don't care if you lose it all. That's why any normal system has security, like checking you when you run out, alarm systems, systems that say the box is empty, so you pick up the electronic, it's empty, they open it, they put the electronic inside of it. It's existed for ages. In a capitalistic system, you're probably prone to more crime because you have a utopian idea that killing enough criminals would get rid of the fact that you created a bunch of poor people. And when poor people are poor and get super poor, they become desperate and do crime. Because if at the end of the day, if society doesn't care about you, they won't feed you, they won't house you, then you owe them nothing. And you're allowed to do crime because they are doing a crime or crime act against you by letting you starve to death or die in such an impoverished, horrible condition when they have such excess wealth that they're even bragging about the honor system or the trust system where they could just give it to you or even risk losing profits. They have a system where you can put stuff outside in the front of a store and they call it acceptable losses. So in a world filled with acceptable losses or trust systems where they accept the fact that they could lose all of it or some of it and accept that as an acceptable loss, they will not accept a tax system that will be an acceptable loss to their profits that will guarantee no crime because they have no reason to commit crime except for what's left, which is a mental illness, which that in itself would have been subtracted since they would be going to mental asylums. So the concept as a whole is a continuation of this flawed idea of what he thinks would work in a society that has tried this time and time again and has failed.
You don't have to get escorted by like 3 police escorts. That's it. It's so simple.
Streets, and you destroyed the fucking country because you're so fucking racist. I hate every fucking one of you.
Was there
challenge accepted? Why don't you come up here to Grand Slam? You know where to find me.
Yep.
See what happens.
Oh, yep, there it is again. We talking Blockbuster? Doing that really led to Nazi Germany, though? Well, there's a lot of things that led to Nazi Germany. That there's other things that you could do, like any form of enforcement of the law. You could say, "Oh, well, the Nazis enforced laws. Well, we can't enforce laws." Well, you can't do that. That's what they did. It's so dumb.
Blunto.
Yeah, it is dumb. It is very, 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 very dumb. Yeah. This right here is an example. I'm gonna move my thing here. Save the Iranian baddies Trump is an example of what I mean by the only thing that these guys care about is women as property or as stuff. Is why I keep mentioning that a lot of the times they only go after the women. They divide the home. They make the men insecure. They may push the men to the right wing, take the women, push them to the left wing, force a division in their family, sleep with the women because they're liberal or leftist, fuck over the men because they're now insecure for justified reasons, calling them insecure, sad men. Now they're all right winger, third worldist that none of the conservatives want or to associate with. So they use their internalized hatred to try and look for a place they fit in. The place they fit in is no longer with the superior manly white who makes money. They go to the inferior white. So now you have this dynamic of a bunch of really strong, intelligent brown men who get filtered into this huge pot filled with just sad white men who also think like the sad third worldist, and they just unite to create this sad group of people that nobody realistically wants to help because they're ugly or they're sad or poor, and then they all have to get together and just realize at least we're not those losers. And that's essentially the group of people that oftentimes go and discredit people's opinions, because as soon as two of these people of the right and left wing who are seen as conventionally attractive start arguing, and they see the person that they could be on the side of, whether right or leftist, if we appeared at the same time, us ugly men, we appeared, then suddenly they would have a huge discourse about the real issues is people take politics too seriously. And those are the men that a lot of people do take seriously. Would say like save Iranian baddies Trump, and they'd like cry about it and laugh about it. Meanwhile, men who would see it as actual serious issues with this weird objectification going around, the fetishization of other races, a fascistic Gestapo force attacking people, then you would have seen the utilization of the continuation of the hatred of the people being carried out by a lot of the people who objectify, fetishize, or look at other races or other countries like lesser people. So be careful, be very careful. A lot of these people just end up making jokes like lol gay. See, it's like blunt face. Oh my god, he smokes weed. Like they joke about it, right? It's just joke. And then they essentially just push to a point where they're just pushing for slavery again. It's again, it starts as a joke, it continues onward to something more serious. Nothing we can really do about it except for talk about it, let people know that what they're doing is just clear signs of racism and hatred. He's watching like black people get arrested on his TikTok, and then calling a bunch of people from high school dumb for having low literacy rates and bad at math, and then say at the same breath that he too would also skip school. It's just, he's making fun of like fat women, saying the emo is them being fat. He's saying that people from Florida, again, they're the ones with the real opinion, not the people from Minneapolis. So his states' right concept that goes away, and he's more like a federal supporter, a federal agency supporter, because cops are cops no matter what. It's again, these people are pushing for the fascism, hardcore hatred. It's an issue I have to fight against, because as soon as I try to go get help on the left or the Democrat side, a lot of them will just threaten me. And it'll be like this with the black man saying, like right here, like, I hate you immigrants, I hate you, all these illegals. And it's, at the same time, they're saying like, fuck you white people. So you try to be sympathetic with them, but then if you're a brown man like me, he'll tell me that I'm the illegal or I'm the immigrant. So it becomes a very big issue when you go onto the left Democrat side, because you run into what I call the royal family, which is, the royal family is just a bunch of rich people who hang out with each other and fuck each other sometimes, and their group opinion is just too powerful to overthrow. It's just way too fucking powerful. And the only thing you can see connecting them is money, sex, friendships, or just getting a fuck ton of resources out of it. Nothing you can do to fight against the Democrat left, because then you would be doing the work for the Republican Party, which fucking sucks, because the Republican Party is just pure fucking evil. Like, they're walking incarnate of like the devil, like the white man whose feet where he steps there's like sulfur in the ground molted, and he just keeps walking. And then the other person's like the modernized day of the 1700 slave owner, who when he walks he doesn't burn the floor, because sometimes he's like, some of my slaves don't need to be maintained with guns, and he's like the progressive liberal of the time. And then you are just like a black person trying to talk to them, or a woman, and you're trying to tell these people why they're savage or evil, when both of those people just killed and raped everyone in sight to establish colonization and a settlement for their people and their rights. Which sucks, right? Because let's say I argue with AOC or something, she could just be another victim of this white supremacy shit, where they threaten her and threaten her family, and she can't do anything about it, because she is also in a position that civilians are in, that we can't just speak out because we get put in our place pretty fucking quick. So it sucks when your heroes or leadership is just put into like a submissive state, and you're just a regular civilian, where if you even say we need to fight for our rights, they'll send police like this person. And again, you can make fun of these people, And they'll show you, like, they don't care. They're not scared of these women that are making these threats, but they will silence you just for saying what everyone is thinking, and it's that people need to fight against fascism, even if it means gunfire, which is a Second Amendment reference, not a threat. I'm making a reference. See? Gotta be careful. But as soon as you understand the Second Amendment exists so you can threaten leadership, then you're gonna understand that that entire system was built specifically to make sure that when shooting starts, they can actually hold you accountable, because you would be justified in every single time to shoot at the presidency. That's why they have that law there. It's, you have the right to kill a tyrant, but make sure you win, because if you don't win, you're going to jail. Right? Not that hard to understand. Anyway, this has been an interesting review. Everyone saw this coming. I did. A bunch of white guys supporting a bunch of ICE agents. I saw that coming. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like shit talking people. Whatever.